Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Sister Wives Season 12 review. Can you imagine having a network with the type of money that TLC has pay for your wedding? And because you decide that you want to prove a point to spite not only your parents, but possibly your siblings, knowing that it is currently cold in the state of Utah, that your guests are going to be sitting outdoors also while observing this wedding, that there will be kids and that there will be pregnant ladies all there in the month of December in a place that I've seen with lots of ice and snow on the ground, that you still decide to have an outdoor wedding. If my sister or my brother or any member of my family was planning an outdoor wedding in December, my response to them would be, I'll see you at the indoor reception. I'm so serious though. All this talk about December, and they have the nerve to have a Christmas wedding with some Christmas colors, because that maroon gave me Christmas vibes and so did the silver that gave me Christmas vibe too. And yet y'all don't make this festive. This should have been a dreamland. I'm talking about fake snow, maybe some icicles, maybe some items that actually go with hot cocoa so that this would seem like the appropriate winter wedding. They dropped the ball. What is the significance of this December, since you don't want to have it in this time? You decide to have it in December because of funds with TLC or whatever the excuse was. And here we are in the month of December where we could totally utilize the fact that this is a festive month, and we drop the ball. If there is something that I forget to talk about, please feel free to mention it down in the comments. For example, I don't think I wrote in the notes anything about Tony and how he complained about the first look and having to take the first look pictures, even though he already saw what Mykelti looked like previously. So you guys let me know if you want to talk about it. And if we don't, I'm sure someone in the comment section will. After months of planning, Mykelti gets to marry her Mexican man, as all the family members complain about having to be outside in the cold, and somewhat seem like they wish that there was another plan. We started this episode of Sister Wives with a very excited Christine. I was happy that Christine was happy, but if I'm being completely honest, her personality type would drive me nuts. Did I say that Christine was extremely excited? Because she was extremely excited. Not that I blame her at all. She is the mother of the bride, and she constantly throughout this episode reminded us of that. Christine arrives at the wedding venue at 7 a.m. along with Mykelti, some of the other siblings, mainly her older brothers that Mykelti can boss around, and some of Tony's siblings and family. They're setting up for the wedding as she wears this shirt that says, "Don't mess with the MOB." For those of you who don't know, MOB is the mother of the bride. All the money that they've got to put into this wedding. And once again, I don't understand why they're doing their own decorations. Is the budget that TLC gives them that low that we're watching them hang up these Amazon looking decor that I feel like they could have done a lot better for? I was very underwhelmed. There is no way that I personally could see myself as a bride with access to what Mykelti may have had access to, setting up decorations on my wedding day. I remember for my cousin's wedding, we helped with some of the decor because a lot of my family is really good at that type of stuff, very talented individuals. But my cousin was told specifically that she was to do nothing in regards to her wedding on her wedding day. We wanted her to relax. We handled all of that stuff, but Mykelti didn't mind. Mykelti was chilling as long as her tacky wedding got put together. Y'all may think I'm wrong for calling it tacky. It just seemed real tacky to me. It was very all over the place and it was driving me nuts. Kody reminds us again how terrible all of his weddings were, with the exception of the birds, of course, because he had to be hidden, because they were polygamous. He let us know that to this day, it's one of his biggest regrets that they remained hidden for so long. I wonder, and I wish they would ask this question and really answer it truthfully, what made them decide that they no longer wanted to hide? Because at the point where they finally did decide to come out, it's not like the laws have changed. The laws are the same. And they keep telling us these sob stories about the choices that they've made and how these things happen to them. And I'm just like, why do we have to keep talking about this? Especially on days that it's not supposed to be about the adults, because every wedding or major event, it comes back to them. I want TLC, if it's TLC doing it, to stop making them do this. So Mykelti is back at the rental with her bridesmaids getting ready. Christine is doing her hair. She says that the thing she's looking forward to most about being married to Tony is being able to call him husband. She doesn't think that there are any other major changes. I would think that maybe the intimacy changed, but I'm beginning to think that Logan and Michelle were not the only ones who were shacking up, because it's clear in watching this show that Tony is extremely comfortable at Mykelti's apartment, the same way that Kody appeared to be comfortable in season 1 at Robin's apartment, which means that he's probably been staying there. Tony is at the apartment getting ready with his brosman, and he lets us know for the third or fourth time this season that he thought it would be cool and sort of significant, rather than calling his groomsmen, that they would be called brosmen, because they're more than brothers, they're friends. Tony's brosmen to me looked exactly what I thought they would look like. I saw some awkwardness there, some interesting interaction, a bunch of gaming remotes in hand. I wasn't surprised by the appearance of anyone. That may be judgmental of me, but I just wasn't. The moms talk about how chill Tony is as a person and how he feels in action, not in words. The bird let us know that she asked Tony if he was excited, and with a straight face, he was like, yeah. Janelle adds, he's not super animated. Neither is Janelle, so I'm sure she can relate to that. Kody lets us know that wedding days for polygamous men aren't an easy day. A monogamous groom gets to do like what Tony's doing and hanging out with his groomsmen, where a polygamous man has to think about the balance. And I would think that a polygamous man, if he decides to, can hang out with his groomsmen too. Create some. But y'all say that weddings aren't that big of a deal. It's more of the sacred ceremony. So then why does all of this matter? Why are we sitting here with a pathetic Kody as he goes down memory lane? The husbands, he says, have to worry about how they interact with their wife, and then the other wives, because the other wives that you're already married to is watching, and you can't act the way that you want to, because God forbid that he have to hold himself back for a whole 2 hours from the love that he has for the bird. You can't act the way you want to. You chose not to. You all made that decision, which I think was dumb. He doesn't think that it's easy for polygamists. Kody sounds miserable during this segment. He says Christine complained about him having a 1,000-yard stare, but it's because he didn't know how to balance all of this. And that makes no sense to me, because at the time, he was already married to 2 other women. So what do you mean you don't know how to balance? You just had to balance it when you went from married to being married to Janelle. That's 2. Christine was 3. What's the balance? And if you were struggling with the balance, why then add another wife to an already complicated situation? But Kody has admitted multiple times that this is what he did. He said it in the book. He said it now later on in life, that he used other wives to ease situations. And when one wife was getting on his nerves as recently as season 18 or 17, he said he utilized another one to avoid that wife. So this is what he does, which goes back to show you Kody didn't know what the hey-ho he was doing. Kody says, it's hard for a wife. Who knew he cared? Who knew Kody cared? He promised himself that if he got married again, that he would have a big reception, a huge celebration. The bird lets us know, which she said in the book too, that she did not want a big reception. There is some line here though. In the book, we found out that the only reason why they actually had a big reception is because TLC paid for it. Because before TLC came along, Kody was broke. I think that's evident by the many multiple vehicles we saw them having breakdowns with, or the tires balling to the point where they ripped apart and things of that nature. That originally, the wedding was even supposed to be the open sequence of the show. So my question is, what would they have done had TLC not stepped into the picture? Oh yeah, that's right. If TLC didn't step into the picture, there would be no wedding, because there would be no bird, because the bird didn't come unless she saw this show coming. The church knew that the show was coming, and it just so happens that after the church knows the show's coming, that she took that 5-hour trip to come to their church just to run into Kody. Come on now. She followed the money, honey. After the wedding was over, after the wedding was over, Kody asked Robin how she felt about the day. And Robin said, "It was successful, but I missed you." If you didn't even want a big wedding, then why is this something that we're even talking about? Kody will take any opportunity to big up Robin. That's what he does. He says he did not connect with his bride, Robin, on his wedding day. Robin hurries up and notices that we're going down the Robin trail like we always do. We're following her to her nest. And she quickly is like, yes, just like Christine. So she saw that Kody was talking too much about her, which he did a few times during this episode, and she throws in another wife in place. Kody comes out with his suit on, his hair in a ponytail. He says he wants it to, slick it all back, so we can just see exactly how much hair he's missing. Now, I don't think he realizes that we can see how much hair is not here, but we can see how much hair is not there. Mykelti and Christine say no, and he quickly tells us it looks cleaner as it's slicked back. Besides, as he's sitting on the confessional couch with the rest of his wives, Robin likes the ponytail. Then Robin says, so does Janelle, because as I said before, Robin is going to continue to get that bright light off of her, that beam that shows she's the favorite wife, because he always brings it back to Robin, and Robin always has to duck and dive, duck and dive, and duck and dive. She's slipping. Kody tells us that only some of his wives like him with the ponytail. Apparently, Janelle is one of those wives who enjoy it too. He lets us know that it's fun to hear Janelle growl as he walks by. She said it happened one time and he won't let her live it down. I think Kody thought more of himself than his wives ever did. I'm not saying that they did not find him attractive. I do believe that they found him attractive, but not to the extent where he tries to make it. Y'all never forget those 6-pack abs that I still haven't seen. Back to everyone getting ready, and Christine is freaking out. This is the part where I said she was getting on my nerves. She's saying, why is the bride telling everybody not to be stressed? I'm stressed. And she's doing all this extra stuff. And Aspen looks like she wants to take tape and put it across her mother's mouth, or have her go sit down in timeout in the corner because of how loud and annoying Christine is being. She tells her to please stop because she's making everyone crazy. As I said earlier, it would drive me nuts. She continues to annoy everyone, screeching and telling everyone how stressed she is about this and how stressed she should be. And she doesn't understand how they're not stressed, and she doesn't understand how the bride isn't stressed. And then asking questions like, what time do we have to be there? Like she doesn't know what time they have to be there. The same way that the guys received a list, I'm sure that you all received a list. I'm sure production has the list. Mykelti hands out the bouquets to her bridesmaids, saying that they can keep them forever. Me personally, I would throw that thing out as soon as the wedding was over, especially because they probably have blood on them based on the comments from Christine in the last episode and the bandages and things that we saw on Mykelti's fingers. I don't think that it was a great idea to do this and pass on their germs this way. Robin tells us that she and Tony got into a fight over how Mykelti would wear her hair, because Mykelti originally, as we know, wanted to wear her hair up and Tony wanted it to be worn down. Tony here looks like he's wearing some basic slacks, a maroon shirt, some sneakers, some maroon Vans, and his hair is just blowing in the wind. Yet he has so much to say about what Mykelti does and what she wears and how her hair looks. Robin wants Mykelti to wear her hair up. Tony wants Mykelti to wear her hair down. In the end, Mykelti decides that she's going to appease all the people around her and do a half up, half down thing. The sister wives line up to give Mykelti the something old, the something new, the something borrowed, and the something blue. Robin gives her an antique hairpin that she admits she purposely got so that she would have to wear her hair up, and a pin for some antique earrings for her something old. And she repeats over and over again that these antique items are actually antique, that she went to an antique shop, and that's why there's some tarnishing there. Me personally, I'm just glad that she didn't give her something from the sister wives closet, that it was actually an antique. Janelle got her a fox fur shawl and hand warmer for something new. Now, you would think that she would actually be smart and utilize this something new item for her outdoor wedding, but she didn't. I don't even recall if I really saw her wear it other than right in front of Janelle for that moment and take it off. Mary then gives her a blue pearl bracelet for her something blue. Christine cut her wedding dress, as we know, to make fabric for Mykelti's wedding. And we're reminded of this, but she's telling the moms that this is what she did, as we already saw her give it to her in the previous episode. Mykelti is happy. They hug. She cries a little bit. She thanks each of the sister wives for their thoughtfulness. Mykelti shows off her look to her bridesmaids. They admire her in her wedding dress for a while. Then she reminds them that she really doesn't want them to wear the shawl until after the pictures are taken, despite it being 40 degrees with wind, which means it probably feels like it's 20. Aspen then gives Mykelti a gift that says novia, which means girlfriend on one side and then their wedding date on the other. She gets touched by this, gets a little choked up, because we find out that that is what Tony called her. I think it would have been kind of neat if, rather than saying novia, or if it said like novia to, is it esposa? Y'all, if I'm saying it wrong, because I haven't taken Spanish since I was in high school, I think it's esposa. Anyway, I wanted to say from girlfriend to wife and then the date. I think that would have been cooler. But either way, it was a nice gift. Everyone is worried about the freezing cold weather. Janelle is concerned for her pregnant daughter, Maddie, who's already been experiencing morning sickness and things of that nature, standing outside with a short sleeve gown in the cold. Robin and Kody are scared that their two youngest will get even sicker because they're standing outside shivering. And Tony is outside of the door at the bridal suite, yelling for everyone to hurry up and don't be a slow poke. He then informs us that Kody doesn't even have on his clothes yet, and they're running behind schedule. He said, despite all this going on, he's trying to remember Kody's advice, which is to stay connected to Mykelti, because Kody has experienced this several times. It is then time for the first look, which to me was very underwhelming, because he's already seen her in the dress and he made a point of saying like, what is this? What's the first look? Why we gotta take it? Why we gotta do it? It was just too many questions. Just go take the picture. They go outside. Mykelti approaches Tony from the behind. He turns around and he says, you look nice. And for some people, this may have been sweet, but to me, it's very underwhelming. I've gone out on a date with my man and he's told me how beautiful I look or how wonderful. Hell, my son tells me I look beautiful. Your response to me on my wedding day is, you look nice. My man will know to do more than that. Y'all let me know. Maybe I'm just, picking. He makes sure to tell her in confessional that he didn't really like her hair, because her hair was kind of up and down and he wanted it all down. Meanwhile, he's walking around looking like he's a guest, in my opinion, instead of the groom, but he is so opinionated about Mykelti. Apparently, Christine forgot Kody's shirt or clothes, whichever. She ironed them, left them at the hotel, so he has to go back and he has to get them. I guess Kody doesn't iron his own stuff. Like, Christine didn't have enough to do, or maybe, anyways, let me stay in my lane. So while the photographer is taking photos, Kody has ran back to the condo, hotel, whatever it is to get his clothing. You can't make this stuff up. It's 20 minutes until the wedding and everyone is still waiting on Kody. I don't even think that Kody rushed changing his clothes because it seems like it took a really long time for him to get there. Christine takes the blame for missing the shirts, says that she ironed them, she forgot to bring them. With Kody missing in action and the weather getting worse, everyone is getting stressed. The guests are lining up outside and they are freezing. Despite there being blankets and various chairs, some of them aren't being utilized and the guests are still freezing. Mykelti wants her mom to come downstairs, but Christine is waiting on the bald eagle because they're supposed to see her together. I get that Christine wanted to make sure she saw her with Kody, but at the same point, if your daughter is getting married and she's stressed out, go downstairs and cover your eye or something, but just let her see you so she's not over here panicking. You hear Mykelti saying, get them, I need them down here now. Get so-and-so and get so-and-so, I need them down here now, and I need them now, and I need them now. And as Mykelti is bossing people around downstairs, Tony is upstairs living his best life, walking around awkwardly, greeting people, complimenting them, and things of that nature. Kody finally arrives. He looks at Christine, tells Christine she looks stunning. I would have much rather heard Tony say that to his bride, but whatever. And he goes down with Christine to see his daughter in her wedding gown. While Christine is talking about how beautiful Mykelti is, Kody says, she looks gorgeous. The dress is great. She looks kind of exposed, but that's her choice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Maddie also have on a strapless dress? So why are we hearing him criticize the fact that Mykelti's dress is also strapless when so was Maddie's, to the point where they were worried because Maddie kept on losing weight and the dress kept on falling and she kept on adjusting her dress? So why are we complimenting Mykelti, but at the same time criticizing her? Just shows that Kody has no coof. As I said earlier, some of the guests have blankets. The wedding is about to start and the crowd is told they will be throwing frisbees at the end instead of rice, but it's a surprise. All the wives think that this is fun. This is a cool idea. It starts and the parents say that you can feel already this is a party atmosphere. The flower girl comes down the aisle and one of them is like 20 years old. I don't understand. Like, it was all these little flower girls and then this big giant one. Why do we have so many flower girls in Mykelti? I'm very confused. Then here comes the bride. Kody lets us know that as he's walking his daughter down, he's looking at Tony and he's just as proud of Mykelti as Tony seems to be. Everyone in the crowd looks cold, so cold that I'm not seeing as many smiles as I like to normally see when the bride walks down, but there are smiles. Tony flips back his hair because it's blowing in the wind, and he looks into Mykelti's eyes. Mykelti really is marrying someone that is a lot like her dad. When he did that hair flip, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so Kody. Kody hands off Mykelti, and after he hands her off, he punches Tony like hard. Not no like boom. It was like boom. You heard it. In the arm. I don't understand why he's always doing something so weird when it comes to this handoff. So you punch this one in the arm, and then with Caleb, you called him a punk. The wedding is in English and Spanish. And at various times, I noticed that there are a lot of empty seats. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't look like 400 people. There's a lot of empty seats here, but we'll get back to that. The officiant has the couple hold a frisbee between them as he goes over the service. Chris makes it fun and unique, which is exactly what they wanted. It is so cold that you see Mykelti up there shivering. And Tony is saying things like, you gotta be dying, which means he's cold too. Tony takes off his suit jacket and gives it to his shivering bride. Rather than having that tacky suit jacket on, she could have easily taken what Janelle bought her and put it on. But this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. I don't think she really appreciated that gift. He should have let her freeze since she wanted to be married outside so badly. Okay, that's not right. I'm popping myself. That's not right. But she should have froze. Christine and Janelle are very impressed by Tony's gesture of taking off his coat. I mean, it was sweet, but it should have been a given. You see her freezing. As soon as she walked out and she got her picture, I would have offered her my jacket. So on the list of things that Kody apparently doesn't do, let's add the fact that he's not a gentleman, that he doesn't, practice chivalrous things, because they were so impressed by the fact that he did this. He puts the jacket on her. She mouths, "Thank you." Janelle says, "I think that that's what everybody will always remember about this wedding." Christine says it was very gallant of him. And I personally think that they're just going to remember how cold they were sitting outside watching this wedding and hoping that it wasn't too long. And the bridesmaids are probably going to remember how they were freezing and all Mykelti would let them wear was a little cover up when they could have grabbed their coat. Who knew a jacket would, totally impress them in their thoughts of Tony. Tony says, the word vow is like a promise to God. Without God in you, in front of these witnesses, so I vow to love you, to protect you, to be good unto you, to cherish you, to become one with you, and to remain with you forever. He says, "Is that okay?" She says, "Yes." It melted Mykelti. She was smiling, so I guess those were the vows that she needed. Finally, after a lot of frisbee talk and the cold air, Tony kisses his bride. The crowd starts throwing frisbees. None of the frisbees hit them, even though I was really looking forward to seeing somebody get hit, if I'm being honest. And they were very impressed by it. It was a nice surprise. After the wedding, Mykelti wants the whole family to gather outside for wedding photos, but Kody is putting his foot down because he does not want his two youngest kids who are sick outside in the cold again. I mean, at this point, they've been out there, so I get it, but part of me is like, why now are you trying to put your foot down? He says, this is an executive decision. And the executive decision is not a good one, he insists. Mykelti tells him that it's her wedding and she wants her wedding photos to be taken outside. Kody tells her he is not putting the bird and her precious chicks outside in the cold because they've been sick. Even though the bird's kids are sick, at no point does his little ones include Truly. Notice that. So it's really about the bird's kids, not that they're little ones. Even when they're outside and he's taking pictures with Christine and her family, you don't see him trying to warm up Truly. You see Aspen doing it. Since they were so sick, they should have kept their little sick butts home, but what do I know? Finally, Mykelti gives in and Kody gets his way. To be fair, I don't like Kody, but they did suffer a little bit in the cold. They should have taken their pictures before the ceremony started. Kody, Christine, and their kids get together to do their pictures outside while all other families do them inside. Once the pictures have been taken, they eat tacos, and all of a sudden there is this amount of people that we didn't see before, to the point where they're having to pull out extra tables and seating, which means these people didn't make it to the wedding, but they're there for the reception. Looks like somebody thought like me, bump sitting outside in the cold, I'm coming to the reception. They realized that Tony may have been right about the food. Tony was right about needing thousands of street tacos to quench the hunger because more people showed up than they were supposed to. Because there was more people in the reception than the wedding. I wonder how many people there were, honestly, because the people were serving themselves. So some people may have taken more than 3 tacos. Robin says they need to make some shirt that says Tony was right. I can't remember if it was a shirt or a pillow. One side says Tony was right. One says Tony was wrong. Give it to Mykelti to switch back and forth. Kody makes a speech. It's cringe, and he looks like a deer in headlights as he gives different parts of the speech. In confessional, he says they were apprehensive because they didn't know what was going on at the time. But overall, when it comes to the two families, they both want a great life for their kids. And I think that that's true. Even at this point, even in this moment, even though I believe now Kody has totally shown the opposite, I did believe when he was saying what he was saying that he did want the best for his kids, even though I don't think Kody knows what the best is. He introduces his wife, Christine, and kisses her on the mouth. I said, okay, we're really putting on a show, because this isn't something that you do at home, but this is something that you're going to do in front of all these people. Got it. Christine starts to sing. I am secondhand, third hand, fourth hand embarrassed for her. Tony is in the background as she's singing, asking people if they even know the song, while Mykelti is sitting there smiling, saying that she loves to hear hear her mother sing. She says, my mom has a beautiful voice. I've always loved my mom's voice, and I felt like this was an act of love because she did this for me, even though she didn't want to do it. Girl, no. Even with the wives complimenting her, she did not sound good, and I feel like Mykelti did that to embarrass her. Even though some of Christine's other kids are telling her she did a good job, it just was a no for me. It didn't even seem like it was in place. They didn't even recognize the song, a lot of them. So it was like, okay, where are we? If we just wanted to sing that for Mykelti, you should have did that at her shower instead of the song I Will Survive. It's time to cut the cake. Despite them being worried about Tony shoving it into her face because of his tradition, he does not. Mykelti lets us know that she begged Tony to please not do that because she felt like if he did, that she would be in a bad mood for the rest of the time period. Tony then takes a bite from a piece of cake, and then he puts his fork into another piece of cake and eats that. And I'm like, okay, aren't the guests going to eat this? I personally would now not be eating any of that cake. Now it's time for Mykelti and Tony to dance. I don't know what they're dancing to, and I felt like he was trying too hard. Christine says that she's surprised at how good they are, but to me, it looks painful. It's not sexy, extremely aggressive. He's flinging her all over the place like a little rag doll. She keeps pulling up the top of her dress because of how much he's spinning her and how aggressively he's spinning her. And I'm just waiting for something to pop off or to pop out. He swings his poor bride around the floor, risking the dislocation of her shoulder or his, or even worse, popping his suit. We then see Maria come and save the day as she dances with Mykelti. Now, Maria can dance. Maria has rhythm. Tony ends up dancing with Christine. He's swinging her around too. The moment is cute. They bring out the giant piñatas for everyone to beat, and Christine enjoyed this so much she now thinks that they should start doing this as polygamists because she says that beating up the piñatas seems better than therapy. Tony struggles beating up Mykelti. You see the kids take a couple whacks of it. That finally comes out. Garrison comes to the plate to hit Tony. And Mykelti went first. She struggled. Garrison comes, and the family must know that he's going to be good because even though they were singing the song that you sing for hitting up the piñata, you hear them speed it up for Garrison. But Garrison does a couple of whacks, the strong man that he was. And he doesn't struggle beating up Tony. I mean, he's way better than Tony. The body just falls apart. The candy comes out. Kody says that even though they thought the piñata was strange in the beginning, now seeing it, he realizes it's a cultural thing. And then the bird points out that the same way that they felt odd about that, maybe Tony's mom and dad felt the same way when it came to them and the fact that their son was marrying a girl that had multiple moms. We see everyone dance. We see Kody flinging Christine and Mykelti around as they dance because, as I said, this is what they do. He loves calling this a Brown family mosh pit, but all it is a bunch of people dancing. I don't understand why he has to take credit for everything. Mykelti and Tony said that it was wonderful and they had a great time. And the wedding ends with everyone saying it was a great time. That's it. Y'all, tell me what you thought of the wedding. Because it was very underwhelming for me. I'm going to be honest, because I did see Aspen's wedding. I may not have watched the whole season, but I did watch Aspen's wedding because I always liked Aspen. And when I found out she was getting married, I wanted to see her wedding. And I thought Aspen's wedding, even though Tony's kilt was extra, not Tony, I keep calling him Tony because they act just alike. Kody's kilt was extra short, you know. I did love her wedding. I thought it was beautiful, even though I think it was the uncle didn't have a voice. It was beautiful. You all tell me what you thought down below. How would you rate Mykelti's wedding on a scale of 1 to 5? This is how I know if you stayed to the end. Rate her wedding on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being awful, 5 being great. And tell me, I'm reading this like, raise your glass and tell me what you think. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like the video, comments. If you have not done so already, subscribe. For those of you who do not know, I am currently reviewing the Bridgerton series from Netflix. I am starting with season 1. Currently, episodes 1 through 5 are on the channel. I'm trying to finish out at least the first season before the third one comes on, because I'm going to be reviewing that as well, along with the other installments. But I definitely have to finish the first one before I can go to the third. Go ahead and catch that. I have some crime stuff that are going to be on my channel. I'm actually releasing something this week. I think it's going to come out before this, actually, because I filmed that earlier today. And that's it for the rest of, yeah. And then, of course, the book. We're currently in 50 Years in Polygamy. And if you have not gotten a chance, I think you all should listen. If you don't listen to it, go buy it and read it yourself. It is a really good book. And this book is written by Christine's aunt that we saw on the show at the panel. And she has been through a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, seeing how she was treated on the show and reading the little bit that I've already read on the channel, which at this point, this week, we're going to finish out with her being, I believe, like 17 or 18. She's went through so much already. But you all, I'm going for real this time. Thank you so much. Until next time.